WNBA proposes cutting team housing and an earlier start to the season. Cutting team housing. We're giving you guys a minimum of $225,000. We're giving you guys $500,000. We're giving you guys $1 million. And you want us to pay for room and board too? What else you got? You guys want us to pay for your laundry as well?
Picture this. A minimum salary of $225,000, an average salary of a cool $500,000, and max contracts topping out at $1 million. And yet, the players' unions still aren't saying yes. The WNBA just slid the most lucrative offer in the entire history of the league across the table. An offer that would triple the salary cap literally overnight. And now we finally know the one single thing that's holding up the entire deal. And let me tell you, it's not about the money anymore. It's about who's paying for the apartment.
Enjoy their teams a few weeks into the... Indeed. The WNBA has proposed a 7-figure base max salary as part of a new collective bargaining agreement, but it's coming at a cost. The league has removed team housing from proposals submitted to the WNBPA, including the most recent, several league sources told Front Office Sports. Teams have been required to provide players with in-season housing since 2016. In-season housing. Shout out to CJ. Shout out to W360.
You've got to hear this. The story, which was broken by Front Office Sports just last week, confirmed through multiple league sources that the WNBA has completely removed team housing from all of its recent collective bargaining agreement proposals. Now let's put this in perspective. Since 2016, every single franchise has been required to provide in-season housing for their players. That's a full 8 years of the league covering everything. The rent, the utilities, even providing fully furnished apartments. And now, the league's position has completely flipped. They're essentially saying, if you want $1 million salary, you're a professional athlete, you can find your own place to live. But here's the kicker. The Players Association is treating this as an absolute deal breaker. So what makes this so fascinating is that the league isn't just taking something away without giving back. They're explicitly offering a trade. They're asking, do you want us to pay your rent, or do you want us to triple your salary? Pick one. But the union's response is basically, we want both. And that is the exact point where this entire negotiation has completely stalled out.
The interfering with the NCAA tournament, that, doesn't make too much sense. The league's latest proposal, reported Monday, was highlighted by salary increases, according to a source familiar with negotiations. The league's proposal includes a max base salary of $1 million, with potential earnings from revenue sharing increasing this number to $1.2 million. Multiple players per team would be eligible to sign the Supermax in 2026. The average salary is projected to exceed $500,000 with a...
Let's break down what team housing actually... So, let's break down what this housing situation actually means in practice. Under the current CBA, the one that's about to expire, players get two distinct options. Option 1 is to live in team-provided housing, which comes fully furnished with all expenses covered. Simple enough. Option 2 is to take a monthly stipend and go find your own place. Now that stipend isn't the same everywhere. It ranges from $1,177 in a place like Las Vegas all the way up to $2,600 in a high-cost market like New York. These numbers are specifically calculated based on the local cost of living. And get this, players with kids under the age of 13 automatically get upgraded to 2-bedroom units. So now, the league is proposing to just eliminate all of that. No more team apartments, no more stipends, just straight, massively increased salary. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. That salary is jumping from a league-wide cap of $1.5 million per team, all the way up to $5 million. Let me be clear, that's not a 10% raise, it's not even a 50% raise. The salary cap is skyrocketing by 233%, and somehow the debate over who covers the rent is the sticking point.
Folks, based on everything that we've been shown, based on all of the reports, only one side of this negotiation seems to be, one side of these negotiating parties seems to be actually trying to move forward and get a deal. Only one side. I haven't seen anything reported from the players. I haven't seen anything reported in these articles that show the players are willing to give this up, willing to give that up. All that I've seen are the owners and the league saying, fine, we'll give you this. Fine, we'll give you that. You don't like this deal and how it's structured? Fine. Here's $1 million without the incentives.
But hold on, because housing isn't everything. There's a second major issue buried deep inside this proposal that's getting far less attention, but it might actually be even more disruptive than the housing situation. The WNBA wants to start the season earlier. I mean, significantly earlier. Under this new proposal, training camp would kick off in the middle of March. That's a full 6 weeks before the current start date in late April. Now, why does that matter so much? Because the NCAA women's basketball tournament, the single biggest event in the sport, runs all the way through early April. The WNBA draft then happens right after that championship game. So if training camps are starting in mid-March, that means the new class of rookies would be joining their professional teams weeks, not days, but weeks into the regular season. Multiple sources confirmed to Front Office Sports that this proposal would have first-year players arriving to their franchises after several games have already been played. Just stop and think about what that really means for player development, for team chemistry, or for coaches who are desperately trying to integrate their high-value lottery picks into complex offensive systems. You could have a situation where the number 1 overall pick in the draft misses the first 10 games of her professional career, all because she was still busy playing in the Final Four.
Provided housing range between $1,177 in Las Vegas to $2,600 in New York. The players most affected would be those under temporary contracts who will, in many cases, only be in WNBA markets for a short period of time. The league is mandated under the current CBA to use, quote, reasonable efforts to secure 30 job opportunities during the offseason, whether with sponsors or teams in leagues other than the WNBA. These employers are permitted to provide off-season housing to players as part of their employment terms. Players signed to team and league marketing agreements are also eligible.
Okay, so now let's look at this from the league's perspective, because this is where their strategy really starts to make a lot of sense, even if the execution feels a bit messy. The WNBA is desperately trying to solve a massive scheduling problem that has been absolutely killing them for years. They are a summer league. They typically start in May, run through September, and in recent years they've even pushed their playoffs into October, and that October finish is an absolute disaster for their television ratings, because they're forced to go head-to-head with NFL Sunday Football, the MLB playoffs, and the start of the NBA season. So, logically, they want to move the entire season forward, start earlier, finish earlier, and stay as far away as possible from that NFL juggernaut. The logic is incredibly sound. Use the unbelievable momentum from March Madness to launch the WNBA season right when women's basketball is still dominating all of the sports media coverage. You ride that incredible wave of attention from stars like Caitlin Clark, Paige Buchers, or whoever the next breakout college phenom is, and you transition those viewers directly into the professional league. But here's the bind. They can't move the season backward into the winter. That would put them in direct competition with college basketball, the NBA, and the college football bowl season. They are completely landlocked. The only direction they can possibly expand is forward, into March and April, and that creates this seemingly impossible collision course with the NCAA.
With the current proposal, they're not even going to have any time. They're going to finish up their tournament and jump right into the season. And like I said previously, the basketball, NCAA is not changing their basketball calendar to acquiesce to the WNBA. The WNBA needs to change their calendar to comply with the NCAA and the NCAA tournament. Now, here are a couple other things.
Now, let's talk about what's really happening with this housing issue, because there's a subtext here that nobody is saying out loud. Team-provided housing creates a very specific kind of culture. When you put all the players from one franchise into the very same apartment complex, you're essentially recreating a college dorm environment. You've got the same building, the same amenities, and everyone is neighbors with their teammates. On one hand, it's incredibly convenient for building team chemistry. On the other hand, it's also convenient for other things. The phrase that keeps popping up in the coverage of this story is sorority lifestyle. And trust me, that's not an accidental choice of words. There's a perception, Whether it's fair or not that team housing enables a particular social dynamic that might not be ideal for a league that's trying to position itself as a premier professional sports organization. When your players are living in team-controlled housing, the league has a certain level of responsibility for what happens in that housing. But when your players are making $500,000 a year and renting their own apartments like every other professional athlete in every other league, that's on them. And when we put all these pieces together, this negotiation starts revealing something incredibly important about where the WNBA is right now, as a business. The league is offering truly unprecedented money. $1 million max salaries would put top WNBA players in the same financial conversation as professional athletes in other major leagues. It's not NBA money, obviously, but it's legitimate, life-changing professional sports money. An average salary exceeding $500,000 means the middle-class player in the WNBA would be making more than most Americans earn in an entire decade. This is a transformational offer financially, but at the same time, the league is also trying to professionalize the entire operation. They want to eliminate team housing, start the season earlier to avoid the NFL, extend the schedule to 44 games, and add a 7-game finals series. These are all moves designed to make the WNBA look and feel like a major sports league, not just some summer exhibition circuit. The problem is, the players seem to want the money without the change. They want million-dollar salaries and team-provided apartments. They want record revenue sharing and the same May to September schedule that lets them play overseas in the winter. They want everything to change and nothing to change, all at the same time. Here's the fundamental tension. The WNBA has been subsidized by the NBA for 25 years. It has never once turned a profit as a standalone entity. So when the owners come to the negotiating table and say, we will triple your salaries, but you need to cover your own rent, that's not an unreasonable position. That's exactly how every other professional sports league works. But the Players Association sees a league that just signed a $2.2 billion media rights deal with ESPN and Amazon, and they see expansion fees of $50 million per franchise for the new teams. So the housing issue becomes symbolic. It represents a larger question. Do they want to be a scrappy underdog operation, where the league takes care of players like a college program or a professional sports league, where athletes are paid handsomely and expected to handle their own lives like adults? The early season start is strategic. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert knows the current schedule is killing them, but it means accepting that rookies will miss the beginning of their careers, and that's a real cost. But the NCAA isn't changing their schedule, so there's no other option. The players have leverage right now, because the current CBA expires on January 9th, and a strike would be catastrophic. The owners know this, but at some point they're going to draw a line. They're already offering to triple salary. If the union says that's not enough because we also need team housing and the old schedule, eventually the answer becomes no. What's interesting about the housing issue is that it affects different players differently. Veteran stars making $1 million don't care. They're buying their own places anyway. But the players on temporary contracts, the 7th through 12th roster spots, absolutely benefit from team housing. So are the stars willing to hold up the entire negotiation for a benefit that doesn't really affect them? The January 9th deadline is real. Most likely, this ends with a compromise. The league probably keeps some version of housing assistance. The season probably starts a little earlier, and salaries land somewhere in the middle. But if either side decides to dig in, this could get ugly, and the biggest loser wouldn't be the owners or the players. It would be the league itself, right when it finally has a chance to break through. Is the WNBA ready to operate like a major professional sports league, with all the expectations that come with it? Or does it want to keep the safety net of NBA subsidies, while also demanding major league salaries? You can't have it both ways forever. Eventually you have to choose what kind of business you want to be. And that choice is happening right now.